on lockdown.
Oh no!
But it was it actually wasn't him. It was his PA, I think.
Right. Profit alert from Wantage been in touch about apprentices. Just wondering who's actually going to supply the next generation of top apprentices. The big yards don't often produce their own apprentices and have almost exclusively used other yards as apprentices. The four yards, Hannon, Hughes, Fahey and Balding, produce so many of the lads who go on to make the grade because it's a numbers game. You have to have a lot of horses in the yard to get the lads going. I can't see some of the smaller yards having the ammunition to supply lads enough winners to really get them noticed, is the email there. David Evans has been in touch. Trainer David Evans. Thank you, David, for getting in touch. Evening, gents. With regard to the above, I've employed a lot of apprentices over the years, helping them to get going. All tack bought usually goes through the valets, so travel is the main grievance here, says David. Why not allow apprentices to invoice the trainer for those expenses or do it through Weatherby's? He says also the PGA are going to take 11% and the trainer will get 10%. Yet they're doing all the donkey work with getting them going, sticking their head on the block, putting them on, while there may be mistakes and almost certainly perhaps cost you winners in the process. If the new system is put in place, I cannot see it working out, says David. I've no idea what the 11/10% refers to.
I haven't read anything about that, and as far as I was concerned, what I've read is the trainers will get 20%, and the jockeys 80%. But I also didn't know what the VAT situation was as well. I know at the moment the trainers have to pay the whole VAT, so it's not of 20%. So it's not quite the story that they get 50-50, because if they're paying the VAT, they're losing us 26 quid a ride, I think, roughly. So
and as
I don't know whether the new regime will be the same in terms of the VAT.
The PGA get a portion of a jockey's riding fee, don't they?
Yeah, but it's nowhere near 11%. It's a very small. It's like a set fee per ride that you pay when you're
like a few quid.
Yeah, but so say for example you having say it's, for example, so I don't exactly know how much it is, but say it's £2 a ride, and you have 600 rides a year. It's you're looking. It becomes more expensive over the more rides you have, sort of thing. But again, it's
But that's the riding fee. That's not prize money.
No, definitely not. No, I don't. It's definitely 11%. No way near that.
Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. But David's worried about the system actually working.
It might be like 2%, maybe something like that. Very small.
And the previous email worried about the apprentices getting noticed, and are they going to have the shop window? Was the question. That was the point.
I think the thing is we're hearing a small group of trainers. I mean, I don't know how many. There's a lot of licensed trainers in the country, and we're. I wouldn't be panicking too much. I'd be panicking if every trainer in the country said we're all standing together, we're not employing any more apprentices. That would be a massive problem. But it's a small select, and don't get me wrong, someone like Andrew Bolden, who's been a massive contributor to bringing young lads on, is massively concerning and upsetting that he feels that way. But it's a big pool of trainers, so I can't believe that's and they're not saying they're not going to use apprentices, they're just not going to employ any new staff.
That's the important thing to clarify. It's certain trainers, high profile trainers, who have had excellent systems in place and who are notable for employing and nurturing apprentices, are saying they're no longer going to employ. Not they're not going to use, they're no longer going to employ. I cannot envisage a situation where suddenly all these young jockeys are going to fall into a black hole and the entire system is going to collapse. I don't see that Armageddon personally. I don't. That's not what I'm expecting.
No, I think it'll. I think there may be a small piece of backtracking from the BHA. There'll be more discourse with the NTF, who, according to George, seem to have dropped out of discussions at some stage. So they're not represented the trainers particularly well if they haven't sustained the discussions to the end. There are lots of things we don't know, looking from the outside as well. We don't know who the trainers are who haven't played ball, and we can't really comment beyond that.
Arriving down at the start then for the final race. Then I think we've answered most of the emails. There was one email that I haven't. Alan's been in touch. Sort of Alan Cummings. Hi Alan, hope you're well. They're coming to the end of the decade. Oh, don't say that, Al. But we will have to have a review of 2019, maybe stroke the 2010s, 2010s. Maybe we'll have to have a show designated for that in due course, Al. As we take a look at this final race from Chelmsford, this 720, with the assembled out at the start, and Murakeb is the market leader here. In really good form, Murakeb just favoured ahead of Diaghilev, two horses who've both generally been running well. Murakeb, Eddie, the volume of consistency.
Yeah, I'm looking at betting on the exchange, and Diaghilev is considerably favoured in the betting. Is 3.8, and Murakeb is 4. So there we are. It's just reflected in the market now. Diaghilev is now favourite. Yeah, Murakeb's been running consistently well. It was a good comeback run after a break last time at Wolverhampton. Little bit. Inches behind Cash and Carry there, who reopposes. But Diaghilev is the one who's come in for late support in the colours, winning colours. Simon Pearce had a winner yesterday at Lingfield in these colours. You can't really say it's a new yard because Simon and his mum have been training the horses, but Simon is now the licence holder, and Lydia is taking more of a back. I don't know whether she's taking more of a back seat. When I see them at the races, it looks like it's the same setup. So you can't really say new connections because they're the same.
Yes.
But they did have a winner yesterday, and a well-punted winner too.
From jockey, of course. Simon Pearce. Right, they are assembling down. There's Murakeb. He's in good nick. He's got a decent draw. I don't expect to see him in front rank. George, you usually...
No, the only thing I'd be slightly concerned. He's had a little. It was his first run back after a little break,
so
and in 5 days is.
You think he might go backwards from that rather than forwards? Yeah?
I can. Fair enough that they're going again, but it's quite quick, and obviously Milton Bradley's is not down the road. It's a long way away, so it's I'd be looking elsewhere. He's quite a short price. I think I'd be looking elsewhere personally.
Do you think at this level, like Arlecchino's Arc finished ahead of Diaghilev, and yet he's a bigger price. I sort of think at this level,
you can go with that. I think that's not a bad angle, is it?
Cash and Carry was ahead of Mukareb as well.
Yeah, so they're very tight knit, these guys, and and you look at that also at Sequin, who finished in front of Arlecchino's Arc, and that is Potter's question. No question, he doesn't want to be in the stalls. And just briefly unship Gabriele Maluna. He has not shown enough to suggest he'd be up to winning this. He's finished last on his last 2 outings, including in his first handicap. Yeah, I thought Sequin had a chance. She's coming back off a 65-day layoff. She doesn't seem to have any gears, so you'd expect to see Kieran Fox at her fairly early. But she does respond, and I know she's 0 from 20, but it's kind of that sort of a race where it won't take a lot of winning. It doesn't look like there are any class droppers from the past, like we saw with the John Butler's winner in the previous race. They're just much of a muchness, and what you see is what you get with just about all of them. Tersal had decent form some time ago, but his form has fallen off the scale recently.
He's been punted 33s into 12s, I think, Tersal.
I have a funny feeling that there may well be a bit of a burn-up for the lead in this race with Cash and Carry. Rainbow Jazz will be ridden.
Rainbow Jazz is a non-runner now.
Oh, is it non-runner?
Yeah, it was withdrawn sometime. Not very long ago. I only just noticed myself.
Okay, sorry about that. So maybe my...
Now Cash and Carry's going to get an easy lead.
Cash and Carry's going to get an easy lead. Yeah, exactly. That actually changes the sort of way I'd look at this race now, and I'd imagine Cash and Carry, who sort of acts very well around this course, drawn well in stall 4, will run well.
In they go then, one by one. I think it's small margins, I think, at this level, isn't it? Very small margins. It doesn't take much for a horse to find a chunk of form in that bridge the gap. Here we go.
And they're off and racing. 1.25 miles is the trip. Potter's question is asked a question or two leaving the stalls. Slowly away, that one. With the noseband, though, Cash and Carry comes through to lead and moves ahead of Sequin, both racing on the rail with Arlecchino's Arc and Saventi and the well-backed outsider Tersal up on the wide outside. Sequin back in 5th place now, just ridden into the bend here with Murakab next in the field. Murakab is just ahead of Brother-in-Arms. Diaghilev patiently ridden in the early stages of the race ahead of Voice of a Leader, and Potter's Question is the back marker. So they turn in towards the back straight. They'll be straightening up in just 100 metres time or so, and with the advantage on the inside running rail is Cash and Carry. Arlecchino's Arc in second, and a clear second at that, with Saventi racing in 3rd place. Saventi is then followed by Sequin, who's still there against the inside running rail. Murakeb is in the yellow and black quartered cap, going strongly in behind the leaders. Tersal is up on the outside, and then Brother-in-Arms. A little gap then to Diaghilev. Under pressure is Potter's Question. Never really been travelling after that slow start. Voice of a Leader is also right at the back end of the field. Action stations then to the final 3.5 furlongs of the contest. The last of the night, the Celebrate December's hero, Samantha Hutchins handicap. The leader narrowly is Cash and Carry on the inside of Arlecchino's Arc. 3 furlongs left to run. Murakeb is into 3rd place there with Sequin still battling on against the rail. Then comes Brother-in-Arms, followed then by Tersal. He's got a lot to do here, Diaghilev, on the wide outside. Voice of a Leader's made some modest late progress. Arlecchino's Arc, though, is the one who strikes for home. Arlecchino's Arc in the lead here, narrowly from Cash and Carry. In behind them, Brother-in-Arms still finishing off well with Sequin. Murakeb down the outside in the yellow. Tersal is trying to run on, but Arlecchino's Arc is still out in front. 100 metres left to go. Murakeb is trying to get there, but won't. Arlecchino's Arc wins the last from Murakeb in 2nd. Brother-in-Arms 3rd, and Tersal was 4th home.
Well, Jason Watson didn't get much of a run on Lucky's Dream in the previous race, but out in front and wins on Arlecchino's Arc, who makes it a 3rd course and distance success. Beats Murakeb, held his form 5 days on to that return to action. Brothers-in-Arms placed again. It's another solid run, and Arlecchino's Arc, Eddie, was entitled to be competitive tonight.
Yeah, he was. He had that bit of form that you mentioned at the top earlier on, when he finished in front of Diaghilev and Cash and Carry, and he did so again. He was always in the firing line behind Cash and Carry, whose life was made slightly easier by Rainbow Jazz being a non-runner, but not much, because Arlecchino's pestered him quite a long way and come back to form, returning to this track with 2 good runs. Red Gunner, who beat him last time, slaughtered him and went up a lot in the handicap. He didn't have anything of that grade to take him on today, and he showed a willing attitude, but it didn't look like anything was happening very quickly in the home straight.
No, I think it'll be interesting to head on if we get a chance to see it. Murakeb definitely was not helping David Probert under pressure, and I think if he helped him out and run straight, would have given Arlecchino's Arc much more of a race. He just hung his race away, and David ended up having to switch the rail, but it was all too late.
In the end, it's Arlecchino's Arc who wins it for Mark Usher, George's old boss. He's knocking out a few winners at the moment. 4-1. Murakeb is 2nd, 7-2. Brothers-in-Arms it was, who was 3rd at 10-1. This Racing Live coming up in a minute or so's time. Don't forget as well that Road to Cheltenham at 9 o'clock coming up later on. Right, that's it for me and the boys in the studio. What a highlight tonight, would you say, apart from being back working, George?
Yeah, Assimilation was very good in the feature. Well placed by Ed Walker. I know it was a pound out of the handicap, but it was a good pot to win.